This video is a review of the topics we have covered this week. We have direct and inverse proportion, rearranging harder formula, the quadratic formula, and factorizing harder quadratics. Let's start with direct and inverse proportion. Question 1 says y is directly proportional to x squared. So that means the relationship between y and x squared is in the form y equals k x squared. So y is something times x squared. If a is directly proportional to b, a equals k b. If m is directly proportional to n cubed, m equals k n cubed. So a directly proportional relationship is a k times relationship. And k is just a number which we can work out using the information we're given. So we're told when y is 3, x is 2. So that means 3 equals k times 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. So 3 is equal to 4k. And we divide both sides by 4 to find out k is 3/4. So in this question, k is 3/4, which means y is 3/4 of x squared. Now we can answer the questions we've been given. Find the value of y when x is 4. So change x into 4. So y is 3/4 of 4 squared. So 4 squared is 16. So what is 3/4 of 16? Well, 1/4 of 16 is 4. So 3/4 of 16 is 12. Question B, part B. Find the value of x when y is equal to 27. So we have 27. So we're changing y into 27 this time, is equal to 3/4 of x squared. Let's divide. We haven't got a calculator, or if we haven't got a calculator, we can divide both sides by 3 first, which would tell us 9 is 1/4 of x squared, and then multiply by 4. So 36 is x squared, and square root both sides, which will tell us x is 6. And question 2, a is inversely proportional to b. That means the relationship between a and b is in the form a equals k over b. So if x was inversely proportional to y, x will be k over y. If p was inversely proportional to q squared, p would be k over q squared. So in this question, a equals k over b, and we're given information so we can find out what k is. So 15 equals k over 4. So multiply both sides by 4, and we'll get k is 60. So the formula in this question is a is 60 over b. So part A, find the value of a when b is 3. So it's going to be 60 over 3, which is 20. And part B, find the value of b when a is 12. So 12 equals 60 over b. So multiply both sides by b, and then divide by 12, and that is 5. Okay, rearranging formula. So this question says make a the subject of the formula, which means get a by itself. So the first thing we're going to do in the first question is multiply both sides by 4 minus a. So we want to get rid of the fraction. So a fraction is like a divide. So to get rid of a divide, we multiply. So times both sides by 4 minus a. So we can have c times 4 minus a equals 2a plus b. So expand the bracket. C times 4 is 4c. And c times a negative a is negative ac. So we've got 4c minus ac equals 2a plus b. We want a by itself, and we've got two different a terms. We need to get them on the same side and everything else on the other side. So that's plus ac to both sides. Then our a terms will be positive. So that will mean we've got 4c is equal to the 2a plus b plus ac. And we want to get rid of this b. So we want to take b away from both sides. So 4c minus b is equal to 2a plus ac. So we've got two terms with an a in. To get just one a, we need to factorize it out. So we need to have a bracket with a on the outside. So there's just one a term. A times 2 is 2a. A times c is ac. So we've got a times 2 plus c. And to get rid of a times, we divide. So we divide both sides by 2 plus c. So a is equal to 4c minus b over 2 plus c. Okay, one for you to try. So give this a go. Make a the subject of the formula. So again, we've got two different a terms. We want to get them on one side and everything else on the other side. So we can plus ab to both sides, which will get both the a terms on the same side. And then we only want the a terms. So we want to get rid of the 2c. It's a positive 2c. So we'll get rid of it by taking 2c away from both sides. So now we've got our a terms together. We've got two a terms. We want to factorize a, take a outside of the bracket to get a by itself. So a times c is ac, a times b is ab. And we've got a multiplied by c plus b to get a by itself. Divide both sides by c plus b. And now a is the subject. The quadratic formula. The quadratic formula says that x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. We can use the quadratic formula to solve a quadratic. So something in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And we use it when we can't factorize. And that's usually when we need to give a decimal answer. So we can't factorize to 2 decimal places. So an option available to us to solve a quadratic is the quadratic formula. So a is 3 in this question. B is negative 1. That's how many x's we've got. And C is negative 9. And we substitute in to our formula. So we're going to say x is equal to negative 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 1 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 9 over 2 3's. So we type it into the calculator, once with a plus and once with a minus, to get our two different answers. So fraction button first. So we've got minus -1 plus the square root of -1 squared minus 4 times 3 times -9 over 2 3's. And we get our first answer to 2 decimal places of 1.91. Or our second answer, which we get from changing the plus to a minus and press equals again, and we've got a -1.57. Okay, one for you to try, so give this a go. So in this question, A is 5, B is -2, and C is -13. So if we substitute in, we have minus -2 plus or minus the square root of -2 squared minus 4 times 5 times -13 over 2 5's. So we'll type it into the calculator, once with a plus, once with a minus, and we'll get both our answers. So the first answer is 1.82. And if we change the plus to a minus, we're going to get our second answer, which is -1.42. Factorizing harder quadratics. This question says solve 2b squared minus 3b minus 14 equals 0. So it's a quadratic equation, but we're going to solve it this time by factorizing. So that means putting it into brackets. We've got 2b squared here, and we're going to get 2b squared from 2b times b. So we can have 2b in one bracket and b in the other bracket. To find out what these two numbers are, we're going to do our a times our c. So 2 times -14 is -28. So we're going to write down the factors of 28, which is 1 28, 2 14s. It's not in the 3 times table, and it's 4 7s. So we're going to say which of those can give me a 3, a -3. That's going to be 4 and 7. But because I've multiplied by 2, I times 14 by 2, I'm going to have to divide one of these by 2. So I'm going to put an over 2 in my bracket. So I've got 4 and 7. It's going to be a -7 and a +4. And I'm going to put the 4 over the 2 because 4 is a multiple of 2. So I can simplify 2b minus 7 and b plus 2. So it's factorized. Now we're going to solve it by saying either the first bracket is equal to 0 or the second bracket is equal to 0. So what would b have to be for the first bracket to be equal to 0? If we plus 7 to both sides and then divide by 2, we can say b is 7 over 2, or 3.5. And for the second bracket to be 0, b would have to be -2. So there are 2 answers. Okay, one for you to try. So we've got 5x squared minus 29x plus 20 equals 0. So we're going to factorize, and we're going to put 5x in one bracket, x in the other bracket, and we're going to put an over 5 in. The reason I've put that in is because we're going to do a times c, so we're going to multiply by 5, so we have to undo that afterwards. So 5 20s are 100. What multiplies to make 100? 100. 2 50s. It's not in the 3 times table, it's 4 25s. 5 20s. It's not in the 6 times table, or the 7, or the 8, or the 9, and it's 10 10s. So which of those can give me a negative 29? It's the 4 and the 25, and they will both be negative. So negative 4, negative 25. I'm putting the 25 over the over 5 because that will simplify. So we have 5x minus 4 and x minus 5. So it's factorized. Now to solve. So what would x be for the first bracket to be 0? That would be 4/5. And for the second bracket, it would be 5. So the answers are 4/5, or 0.8, and 5. Okay, that was our week 7 review. The assessment is now available. That will be linked in the description or at the bottom of the page on the website.